Okay, how's everybody doing today? Of course, my name is Kent to the channel EOS San Diego, EOS Bitcoin San Diego. Like I say last night, Crypto Kent, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I'm not really too concerned about the channel name. I made a live stream last night and my live stream was interrupted for technical reasons. I had to stop the live stream for reasons that I'm not going to go into. But anyway, I had to stop the live stream. I didn't get to finish the video. And today this is just basically an extension of that video last night that I was doing. Like I say, I haven't really found a lot of things interesting as far as the markets are concerned here recently. Bitcoin trading within a range of about $40,000 to $50,000. You know, a lot of the altcoins just staying pretty much the same. Nothing that exciting going on with the market. Just, you know, basically boring, you know, trading within a range. I mean, if you really want to make some money right now, just buy Bitcoin at about 40,000, watch it run up to 45, 50,000 and sell it and then rebuy back at about $40,000 if you're into doing that. But I did find one video that was very, very interesting. And the video, and I talked a little bit about it last night, was with a guy by the name of Raoul Pal and Michael Saylor. Of course, Michael Saylor is a huge Bitcoin buyer, I think over $5 billion. And he talks about Bitcoin a lot. He's on the YouTube a lot talking about Bitcoin. So, you know, he's obviously got an incentive to push Bitcoin because he's got such a huge stake in it, not only in his companies, MicroStrategies, but also personally. I guess he's made a huge investment in Bitcoin personally. And he makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you listen to Michael Saylor, he's probably one of the best arguments for buying Bitcoin today, probably over any other thing you can buy. Real estate, you know, whatever else you want to see. We're in an inflationary time. There's a lot of places you can put your money right now and probably do well. But overall, probably Bitcoin to me would be pretty high on the list. As Paul Tudor Jones says, it's the fastest horse in the race. But the second thing that people, obviously, if you don't have 40,000 for a Bitcoin, 50,000 for a Bitcoin, and you want those, you're a junkie. You got to get the high. And you got to get those extreme highs. You got to get the 5,000%, the 10,000%, the 30,000%. You know, the Michael, you know, the Hex, HEX guy. You know, if you got to get those kind of returns, you're probably not going to get it on Bitcoin. So you're going to be reaching out for the altcoins. The altcoins are probably where you're going to see more returns, bigger returns, faster returns. You know, and, you know, take for instance, like our challenge token. You know, we are the developers of the challenge token. We are the ones that came up with the idea. We are the ones that did the airdrop. We're the ones that pretty much did all the development. You know, it trades very, very low. 3 zeros, you know, hundredths of a penny. If that would happen to ever go to 20 or 30 cents, you can look at the returns you'd see. Those are the returns that a lot of people want. And those are the returns regardless of what really is happening in the real world. People keep chasing those returns. I mean, you buy Ethereum at a few cents and it runs up to $3,000. I mean, you're really kind of, like I say, you're a investment junkie. You're a crypto junkie. You're going to buy these speculative plays. Saylor makes the point that you should only buy Bitcoin. And the only reason to buy Bitcoin is because Bitcoin's the only legitimate cryptocurrency. Everything else is unregulated, possibly could be delisted from exchanges if it's unregulated. And, you know, it really is a promise yet to happen. And Saylor is pretty correct on that. Saylor is a pretty much, you know, straight line investor. He's you know, a guy with pretty good common sense. Not only pretty good common sense, he's a smart guy. He's got a lot of intelligence, obviously made a lot of money on his own. So he makes some pretty good sense. But he's making an argument with Raoul Pal. Now, both of these guys are very wealthy men. I mean, way above my pay grade. Saylor's obviously billionaire. Paul's very, very wealthy. Who knows how many millions and millions of dollars it is. He was a hedge fund manager. So, you know, he's got a lot of money. But anyway, these guys get into a little bit of an exchange in his video. I'm about ready to show you. Played a little bit of it last time. I'm going to play it for you right now. And they make these points. And I want to go through these points because this is a point I've been making. He's making some of the same points I'm making. So I thought this was interesting because I agree with a lot of the stuff he's saying, but I also have some stuff to add. Michael Saylor, being a Bitcoin maximalist, just like guys like Max Kaiser, there's a lot of people out there that only believe in Bitcoin. They will only invest in Bitcoin. They only buy Bitcoin. They completely discount the altcoin market, altcoins being every other coin besides Bitcoin and stable coins. They completely discount those markets because they say that, you know, they're not true cryptocurrencies, all this other stuff they say. And of course, Michael Saylor's big point right now is they're unregulated. And Gensler, who is the Security and Exchange Commissioner right now, is talking about everything's pretty much safe. I mean, the only one that's really, really safe is Bitcoin. Everything else has possibly problems with, you know, the Securities and Exchange Commission. So anyway, let's play this video. Let me change my screen to where I can show you my browser. Hopefully tonight today I won't have the problem. And by the way, it's still Molly's birthday. I left that video up last night because I did wish her happy birthday. I want to keep wishing her happy birthday. It is her birthday today. So happy birthday, Molly, September 29th. One of the best days of my life. And, you know, I put her Instagram in that video if you want to follow her or watch her or see some of the stuff she's done. She's very popular on YouTube, very popular on all social medias. I think she has 1.3 million in Instagram. She's well over 1 million in TikTok. I think she's got 500,000-600,000 in YouTube, even though I don't think she's made a video in quite some time. But anyway, she's very popular in social media. She's been very, very successful. And like I said, I wanted to wish her happy birthday last night because it was her birthday. And I want to get it right after her birthday, which was right after midnight. That's why I made the video. Set a few things up wrong, so that's why I had to end the video because I didn't get it all set up correctly. But anyway, let's go back to this video of Michael Saylor, Raoul Pal. Like I said, two very wealthy guys arguing a point that I want to discuss because it is something that I think neither one of them, even though both of them, like I said, are way above my pay grade, neither one of them addressed this very well. The point that's being made, neither one of them have a good, in my opinion, have a good take on what's going on. Now we, as developers of an altcoin, the CHL coin, running on the EOS blockchain, we get a pretty good idea what's going on here, more so than anybody else. I mean, if you're a car mechanic and you have stripped a motor down to its nuts and bolts, you're going to understand that car much better than if you're somebody that just drives it every day. I would say in my situation, our situation, my son and my situation, we've taken Bitcoin, we've taken the altcoins, we've taken the blockchain down to the nuts and bolts. And we've looked at it from every angle, pretty much lived this life for 3 or 4 years of doing nothing but following the markets, following people's decisions, what they do, why they do it, where this technology is taking us, what direction we're going in the future. We've been following this for quite a few years. To me, it's about as hard to hold on to or hard to understand as, you know, there used to be a saying when I was a kid, chasing chickens. You know, you couldn't chase chickens because they'd run this direction, that direction, they were all over. That's about the way. This is like herding chickens, trying to figure out what people are going to do. Because what I've understood, what I think is going on is that most people don't really care, you know, what happens. They don't care that a project like HEX has no development. They don't care that Ethereum 2.0 probably never launched. They don't care that a guy like Cardano, you know, spent so many years in development and just released a blockchain and hasn't really got a lot to show for it. They don't care. They just care about those returns. They just care about getting that quick 1,000, 2,000, 3,000%. And they don't care about anything else. And least of all, they don't care about the technology, and they don't care about, you know, if anything's even going to work or not work, or how's it going to work, or something like that. You know, there's a lot of things at play here. Like I say, in my position as someone that, like say, has stripped this down to the bare bones, you know, a project like EOS has a lot of value because they've crossed a lot of the hurdles of the smart, you know, of the cryptocurrency, you know, the real problems that the cryptocurrencies are facing. One of them is, you know, scalability. EOS has figured out a way to get around scalability. And when I say EOS, I'm talking about Telos too, because now we're going to be running on Telos. And in my mind, Telos is it's a better EOS. So EOS, Telos, both running the same software, although they're different because they're different blockchains, different block producers, a lot of things, different people. You know, my opinion, Telos is probably the best blockchain in the world today. And we are running, or very soon be running on that, as well as being able to sell our token off of our own application, of which a lot of people don't even have an application. So we have the ability to do that. And we are going to be doing that very soon. So if you want to watch CHL, you're going to be able to purchase the token right off the app, which is unique. I mean, nobody else, I don't know if anybody else is doing it. I think there are a few other people doing it, but this is a very unique time and very unique way, and a very unique way of managing our project. So, and I think it's going to help the price out a lot too. So that's something I think that's very valuable. So anyway, like I say, EOS has solved a lot of these problems, the regulatory problem. They've already gotten the waiver from the Security and Exchange Commission. They already have fixed the scalability problem, huge problem for so many of these blockchains. You know, they've done a lot of things good, then they've done a lot of things bad. Hopefully right now they're on the right trajectory. I mean, it's the you know, let's take here. I'll just go to the prices, and we'll take a look at the prices. And I hopefully they keep going in the right direction. I don't know where they're at today. I'll look at the price. EOS. Let's see where EOS is at. It's, you know, it's really hard for me to scroll down this far and see EOS, because it used to be in the top. I think it's got as high as 4. EOS, where are you? More further down. Right there it is. Wow, way down there. So yeah, we're down at $3. Was it $3? Oh my gosh. $3.73. So it's taken a beating here recently. Like I say, not too much to talk about as far as the markets are concerned. But like I say, they've solved a lot of these altcoin problems. I think they are one of the few blockchains, along with Telos, that is going to prosper in the future. But that doesn't matter because they're not running up big prices, big, huge gains. They're not being very vocal. They don't have a good way of getting people to get excited about their token. And while that happens, like I say, it's like you don't know where people are going to go, but most people are going to follow those high flyers. EOS is not a high flyer. Hasn't been, probably won't be. Bitcoin recently has not been the high flyer, even though Bitcoin is the one coin that Gensler, Security and Exchange Commissioner, says is safe. So, you know, but you could take a winger on some of this other stuff. And that's what they're talking about in this video. And that's why I want to talk about this. Whether you should just keep your money in Bitcoin, whether you should go after the Ethereums, the Cardanos, some of these others that may have a regulatory problem. And we'll listen to this. Here, I'll play the video, the first part of the video in the beginning, just to let Michael Saylor make his point. Here we go. And hopefully I got the speaker set, so we'll go. And no, I don't. I have to change my speaker because even though I started the program, it'll still go put my settings back to where they were before. So let's put them back where they were before. Okay, here we go. Saylor should talk now.
Underestimating the potential of Bitcoin. I mean, if you boil it down, I just think the upside on Bitcoin is underappreciated, and
I like the way Raoul Paul is rubbing his chin here. And I like the seriousness on his look. You know, this is the funny thing about Michael Saylor. He's always looking serious. I mean, the guy looks like he's deadpan serious. He doesn't look like there's any joking about this. Raoul Paul's sitting there and he's thinking about this. These guys are two smart guys, two very wealthy guys. And they're sitting there and it's just funny, the expressions on their faces they're talking. Because he's thinking, and they're both getting ready to make points, but I think Saylor wins this argument if you watch the entire video. But Raoul Paul has, I think, the right mentality, the right thinking. But here we go. Because basically Saylor says he's a maximalist. Bitcoin only. Don't worry about the other ones. Stay out of them. They're just money losers. And I think he misses, like I say, a big piece of the puzzle. Raoul Paul is more open to the altcoins, but he doesn't really know how to respond to the things that Michael Saylor is getting ready to say. So anyway, let's go through the video.
And the upside on the other cryptos is overappreciated, I think.
Over this past weekend.
Okay, this is the guy that actually does this thing. So, let me go back to the beginning of this video. Let's play it from here.
Well, a year ago, I told you sell your gold, buy Bitcoin. I don't think I was wrong. Today, I would say sell your altcoins and buy Bitcoin. The conclusion is you should sell the altcoins. You should get every.
So here you are. You got guys got $5 billion worth of Bitcoin. He's made lots of money in his MicroStrategies, went public, made billions of dollars. He's telling you to sell your altcoins and just buy Bitcoin.
Everybody is overestimating the potential of the altcoins and they're underestimating the potential of Bitcoin. I mean, if you boil it down.
Okay, so he makes a really, really good point. Like I say last night, a point I absolutely, completely concur with. Bitcoin is the stable place to put money. If I had money I knew I couldn't lose, I'd put it in Bitcoin. So for that reason, I think he's absolutely correct. But is there a play in the altcoins? Because that's where you're going to get your big, huge return is the altcoins. At least in short increments of time. So anyway, let's listen to what he says as far as the regulation is concerned, because this is interesting, and people need to pay attention to it, even though people do not want to hear the details. I'll tell you the one thing I can tell you over the last few years of watching the cryptocurrency markets is people do not want to understand the technology, and they do not want to know the intricacies of this, and they don't want to think about regulations and the Security and Exchange Commission and the Howey test. They don't want to think about the different protocols that are being used, the different layers that are being used, how the blockchains interact with each other. They're not thinking about how this is all going to have, how it's going to actually play out. Just like we did with the tech bubble. A lot of people wanted to believe, there's hundreds and hundreds of tech companies, in the early 2000s that were just taking off, making people billionaires, just like Mark Cuban and his idea with broadcast.com. Completely useless idea, didn't work. Bringing radio to the internet, sold it to Yahoo for billions and billions of dollars, and now he's on a Shark Tank program and criticizes everybody else's ideas when he had probably one of the worst ideas ever. But it didn't matter because at the time people were just throwing money at things, including Yahoo. And that's kind of the way this is. Nobody's really thought through how this is all going to play out. Unless you make it your 100% attention, or make it the majority of your attention like we have, you're not really thinking about things. But anyway, he's making a point. He's going to make a point here real quickly, and I'm going to play it about the regulation, the regulators, the people that we don't want to think about, because we're thinking about, as people in cryptocurrencies, that we're going to get away from the banks. We're going to get away from the regulators. We're going to get away from all the red tape and all the minutia that people have to struggle through in order to be banked or be in a financial situation or to be able to go public or to be able to sell to the public their shares of stock, or to do all these things that people do. We want this to be, worldwide, which it is, and we also want it to be regulation and government free, which that's what people strive for. That's like Dan Larimer. That's what he strives for. He wants freedom. He wants to have people be able to make what decisions they want to make without having somebody intervene and tell them they can't do something. So that's what Saylor's doing. He's pulling everybody back from the altcoins and saying, listen, this guy named Gensler, Security and Exchange Commissioner, regulator, he's telling you. Well, I'll let the video speak for itself. Here we go.
The value of true digital property that is decentralized, that is a commodity, that is within the regulatory framework is huge. And
okay, so digital, which is in the regulatory framework, is huge. So what he's saying is the regulations are coming. Regulators are coming. We'll listen to this a little bit more. If my internet would speed up. Here we go again. I hope I don't have to end this video too. Oh my gosh.
and underestimated. And over again, what the regulators are telling you, like these are direct quotes from Gensler yesterday. Stable coins may well be securities. Some tokens are commodities. Many of them are securities. DeFi is
Okay, so that's what this video is about, is Michael Saylor saying that the guy in the Security and Exchange Commission is saying that there's a lot of these that are securities. And what that means is that they come under the jurisdiction, under the control, under the umbrella of this one entity in the United States of America called the Security and Exchange Commission. And they have the power to regulate these coins, as we've seen with XRP, where they can actually sue XRP. And it doesn't matter where you're located at in the world. They're going to do it anyway. But let me and this is something that could be a problem for a lot of these altcoins. And that's why you need to be careful. And Michael Saylor's making this point.
Decentralized in name only. There are 6,000 projects. While some of these are commodities, many of them are securities under the law, and many of the platforms are. That's what he's saying. He said it 4 times. And he's not wrong, by the way. He's not wrong.
But Michael.
Okay, so he said it 4 times, and he says basically, unless this is why they are securities. Because they want them to be securities. The government wants to take control of these ideas or these projects. Because they're using a court case, a U.S. Supreme Court case. Most of people that are in cryptocurrency are very familiar with. It's called the Howey test. And the Howey test happened a long time ago. I believe in the 1940s, if not the late 1930s. I can't remember. It's a U.S. Supreme Court case, and it was about an orange grove in Florida. In fact, I actually watched a video one time of an attorney that was doing a video on XRP and the lawsuit with XRP. Actually went to the orange grove. He lived in Florida, drove to the orange grove that was in dispute during the Howey test, the Howey court case. And what this is it's about whether people that were purchasing, I believe they were purchasing pieces of parcels of land, and in the buying of the land, it was regulated, shouldn't have been regulated. I can't remember. But anyway, it doesn't really make much sense for today's world or the cryptocurrency world. But the reason why this is because in the law, the more open or more undefined or the more, what would you say, the more nebulous things are, the more it gives them the opportunity to intervene. And that's why they're using a case like the Howey test of the 1940s to intervene, because they want to intervene. They want to take control. And that's why they're using this. And nobody can figure it out. Everybody goes, oh my God, why are we talking about the 1940s and the 2020s in cryptocurrency? Because lawyers and the law loves the idea that it's so hard to put your finger on, it's so hard to define, that they can literally do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want. So that's what's going on here. So I'll let him play a little bit longer.
Making it security doesn't make it illegal. You just need to register. And if you register, you can do as you wish within the securities laws.
Okay, so Raoul Pal, after Michael Saylor makes the point, hey, these could all be securities. And if they're securities, guess what? Not only do you get sued by the Security and Exchange Commission, U.S. government, U.S. federal government, which has endless resources, you could get delisted. You could get, delisted from, and not only that, exchanges could be shut down too. So the exchanges got to be really sensitive to this too. So exchanges are sensitive. The coins are sensitive. Everybody's sensitive. And Raoul Pal comes back and says, but you can get them registered. What's the big deal? The big deal is if you register them, you're going to be penalized if they find out that you're a security. As XRP's finding out, as EOS found out when he's paid, I think almost $30 million to the Security and Exchange Commission. So if you haven't raised a ton of money, or you don't have the ability to access billions of dollars like EOS had, you're probably not going to get an agreement with the Security Exchange Commission, and you may not be able to operate. So getting the okay from the Security Exchange Commission is a lot easier said than done. So he makes the argument, hey, just go ahead and register them, which I don't believe is a good argument. That's not the argument I would have made. I would have made an entirely different argument, and I'll go on with the argument I'm going to make. But let's go on a little further here.
So it doesn't actually make a difference. It's not like, oh, everything's illegal. It's like, no, you need to register it as a security and operate within guidelines of the administration that you're in.
Yeah, the point is all the exchanges where these things are trading are not registered with the SEC, and the DeFi exchanges are not registered with the SEC. So the only way they avoid complying with SEC laws is by maintaining that they're commodities as opposed to security.
Okay, so that is pretty much the argument, and that's kind of where this goes off. He talks about how these are unregulated. Since they're unregulated, there's a big question mark as far as how the future is going to play out for these altcoins. Raoul Pal comes back with the argument that says, hey, just go ahead and get them regulated. And then he also comes back with the argument that, hey, at the end of the day, basically, if you don't have a high risk tolerance for altcoins, then you shouldn't be doing them. And there is a play here, which I agree with. And in the meantime, it's not going to be a quick way for the Security and Exchange Commission to, what did he say, 4,000, 5,000 projects to intervene in each and every one of them. They're going to have to be very selective on which projects they try and do something with, like Ethereum. With Vitalik, Vitalik has a great following, very innovative, somebody that if you went after Vitalik, the Security and Exchange Commission went after Vitalik, I think it would be very unwise, because he has enough notoriety, he has enough power in this space that they could get the Security Exchange Commission get a lot of heat back from a huge community with lots of money about going after a security or going after a token like Ethereum, even though they have said Ethereum's a problem. But I don't think they're going to go after Ethereum, because I think Ethereum's safe, because I think of Vitalik, and I think of the fact that he's an innovator. He's the guy that kind of has moved the smart contract platforms forward. And you're not going to try to take down a guy like Vitalik. He's just too, he's got too much, there's too much at stake here with Vitalik. There's a lot easier projects to take down. So the Security Exchange Commission has to be very careful who they take on. Of course, they took on XRP. Sounds like they may be getting ready to take on some others. So they have to be careful in how they select it. It's not going to take down all of them overnight. So there's a lot of these are going to go on for quite some time. In fact, I think for a number of years. But my point about this is I wouldn't say, if I was Raoul Pal, I wouldn't say to Michael Saylor, hey, let's just get regulated. And also, let's just have a high tolerance rate let's just have a high risk tolerance for these altcoins, because some of them could be very speculative. And if you can't afford to lose the money, don't pay. I wouldn't make that argument. That's a bad argument. The guy's, like I say, way over my pay grade. The argument I would make to Michael Saylor is, who gives a rip about the Security and Exchange Commission? This is a worldwide idea. This is a worldwide phenomena that's sweeping the world. And obviously the Security and Exchange Commission is accepting and adopting the idea of cryptocurrencies by giving a pass to the biggest cryptocurrency, or the original cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. So they are acknowledging this is technology for the future, and that they are willing to work within the framework of cryptocurrencies. But they're trying to control and regulate as much as they can by reaching back to the 1930s and 40s and bringing out some rulings that may affect today's world in the cryptocurrency. So they're trying to be able to manage this. If I was Raoul Pal, I would say, who gives a rip about these guys? Ignore them. Do you think Binance really cares about what the Security and Exchange Commission thinks about, the Binance coin or the Binance or the Binance exchange? No, they could really care less. But as long as the United States holds a prominent position in the world as far as fiat currency is concerned, which means the dollar remains strong. It remains money for pretty much every country in the world. As long as that's in play, then the Security and Exchange Commission does have a lot of power. Once that starts to fade or loses some of its status, then nobody's really going to care about these Security and Exchange Commission rules and laws and whether they can intervene or not intervene, because they won't have jurisdiction. They don't have jurisdiction. The only way they get jurisdiction is because they influence their power over the rest of the world through trade and through the fact that the U.S. economy and the U.S. dollar has such prominence, thanks to Henry Kissinger and a lot of other decisions that were made, after World War II. The American economy was very strong. So, they took control, and they really took control very, very strongly. But a lot of countries in the world are going to start trying to push back on that. And the way they're going to push back on that is with the cryptocurrencies. So if I was Raoul Pal, I would have made the argument, hey, look, we don't really care. Eventually the Security and Exchange Commission probably will lose more and more and more and more of their power and their influence over these ideas that are taking off literally around the world. And who knows, like you got El Salvador right now that is taking off with Bitcoin. You've got a lot of other markets in the world, a lot of other countries that are looking at Bitcoin. But now that you have El Salvador and you have some other countries that are using, I think in Africa, they use a lot of cryptocurrencies in Africa because they don't have native native currencies, native fiat currencies that are doing well. If you hold your money in some of the countries in Africa, your money is inflated, by the minute. So, you're almost forced to use a cryptocurrency or use some other means of exchange. And that's what the phenomena that's taking on today. So as far as the Security and Exchange Commission's rules are concerned, as far as their regulations, as far as their 1930 Howey test, as time moves forward, these will become less and less and less relevant. So I think the altcoin market will thrive. It will flourish and it will take off. And there are a lot of opportunities in the altcoin market, even though there are some that may not, that may have some problems, just as, Michael Saylor says. But in the overall, I think as the world evolves and the world moves forward financially, they realize that the fiat currencies, the analog way of doing money is not the future. The future is the cryptocurrencies. Some of them will be around forever and some of them will not. The ones that will be around, I think, are the ones that fit in with the world today. And they also have a vision for the future. And that's what I say about EOS. I think EOS, Telos, they have a vision for the future and they fit in today. They fit the regulations today, and they also have a vision for the future. The ones that are quick high flyers, the guys like Cardano that got quick money from the ICOs, the guys that are coming up with schemes like Hex, those projects I don't think are going to last very long. You're going to make a quick play and get out and be done. Dogecoin, another one pumped up by Elon Musk. Those projects aren't going to last. But the ones that have foundational ways of blending into blockchain and blending into cryptocurrencies and blending into the world, those will survive. And that's where I think a guy like Michael Saylor really misses the point. He wants to make it too easy. He wants to say, buy Bitcoin and forget it. I don't want to look at all the rest of this stuff. There's 4,000 projects out there. I'm not going to analyze them. I'm not going to think about them. I'm just going to say, hey, they got regulation problems and they're going to go away. Buy Bitcoin, forget it. I agree with that philosophy. I agree with that thought. And that would be if I was a very uneducated cryptocurrency person, that would be my position. And that would be what I would tell people to do. Not if you want to play these games, if you want to play this game and you want to find the altcoins that are really taking off, I think there is a play here. I think they will be around. And I think as time goes on and the dollar loses some of its world influence, and it will, because it's inevitable. No currency lasts forever. Control doesn't last forever. Control over the years will start to fade. And as it does, other cryptocurrencies will start to take off and do well. And you won't have to worry about regulation and Security and Exchange Commission and some of the other things. There'll be probably some world organization that you'll be coming under the authority of instead of the United States. But anyway, it is an interesting argument. I think it's one worth talking about. I think about it quite often because I like Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's got a real opportunity. In fact, I'm bummed right now Bitcoin isn't doing better than it's doing. I was hoping to see something close to $100,000 by the end of the year, and we're running out of time, but we don't know. Things are inflating. Money is going away quickly in the United States. We could see Bitcoin at 100,000 overnight. We don't know. We don't know. But we need some more movement in Bitcoin, and we also need the altcoins to survive. We need all of them to survive. I mean, I'm critical of a lot of projects like Cardano. I'm critical of HEX. I'm critical of Dogecoin. I'm critical of. I'm critical of a lot of these projects, but we need all this stuff to survive. But people need to make more intelligent decisions about it. They need to see if there is a development team. They need to see if there's an idea. They need to see if there's an application that's running along with the project. They need to see if there's, other things going on that make it something that it's going to survive the future. That's what they need to. And instead of just chasing profits, instead of saying, "Yes, I want something that does 10,000%, something that does 20,000%," and I don't care what the guy says, and I don't care how he's trying to sell it. I don't care that he's got all this, Louis Vuitton and stuff around him, like the guy from Hex does. I don't care about that stuff. I'm going to look at the real part of this. Those are the people that I think will do well. The people that will find the projects that are going to be successful in the future. And there's going to be a lot of them that are. So, like I say, the altcoin market is not dead. The altcoin market has a lot of opportunities if you're somebody that wants to invest just a little bit of time in trying to understand this technology and understand the direction it's taking. And projects like ours, that we do have a development team, that we do have a token, we are traded. We did not get the ICO money. We are not a regulated security because we never raised any money. If you never raise any money, you can't be a security. I mean, that's the first thing that's going to cause you an issue. If you go out and get other people to invest in your project, that's going to cause a red flag right there. And you're going to come under this huge umbrella of the Securities and Exchange Commission because you raised money from another individual. So if you never raised any money, then you don't have the problem. So a lot of projects that didn't raise money, like we didn't raise money, Telos didn't raise money. I mean, a lot of these projects, they will be viable, and they're being viable on their own because they're self-supportive. They're able to raise enough money or be able to have a project that generates enough money so that they can be self-sustaining without getting investor money. And that always will keep you out of trouble. So anyway, that's the things people need to look at. Maybe not, you're not going to get the big, huge returns right away, but if you buy them cheap enough and you hang on, buy them now and forget you own them, like, with a project like ours, Challenge. You could buy it for a few hundredths of a penny. You could buy a little bit, $500, and forget you owned it. And who knows where it's going to be in 5 years, 6 years. That's what I would be doing. I would be selectively buying some projects. Telos is another one. Some projects that I could see some development going on, some ideas going on, some movement going on. And then know that in the future, just a small, change, like what I saw with Hex. I mean, where's Hex started? Hex started out with, let's go and look at, I mean, this thing is up how many 1,000% in just 1 year, I think. I mean, if, I don't think they give a percentage. Oh, right here, is it all-time high? Anyway, this thing is up an incredible amount of money. I mean, if you're just throwing a little bit of money at this thing, you would have done very well. In fact, I get the people calling me, or not calling me, but telling me all the time about all the money they've made in this, even though I don't believe it's ever going to last. But selectively throwing them, and I have done. I actually bought some Hex. I don't have it anymore, but I bought some, and I did make a little bit of money on it. In fact, I made, I think, a double or triple on it, if I remember right. But yeah, I mean, I'm in and I'm out. But these are the kind of projects that there is a play there, but don't put a lot of money in it. Don't put the farm on it, because I don't think they're going to last. But the Bitcoin will last, Ethereum will last, some of these others will last. But anyway, don't throw away the altcoin market because Michael Saylor says there's regulation. I don't think that's a good argument either. So that's pretty much the point I was trying to make last night. Didn't get it done very well, but hopefully people get it today. See if I can expand my screen here. And they can prosper. I mean, that's what this is about. This is about prospering. It's about finding the right deal, putting a little bit of money in it, and making a few %1,000%. I've seen that over and over and over again. Like I say, we've seen it, so some well-placed money, maybe a few $100s. And where else can you do that? Where else can you take $500, put it in something like HEX? And like I've seen people before literally tell me, look, I made more money in Hex than I've ever made before doing anything. I made more money. My son bought Ethereum. I think first time he bought Ethereum, I think he bought it at $12 or $13. He told me, not that he sold. I think he sold at 300. He said I did pretty well, and people buying Bitcoin. Man, I've seen people buy Bitcoin for $2,000 or $3,000. It's at 40,000 now. Where else can you do that? You can't do that anyplace else. And like I say, the regulators are pretty much capitulated. They said, Bitcoin's here to stay. We're going to live with Bitcoin. Gensler said, we're going to live with Bitcoin. We're not going to regulate it. We're not going to do nothing to it. It's here. It's part of the system. It's got a free pass. It's here. El Salvador uses it as their main currency. How many other countries are going to start doing that? Lots of other countries. So, because a lot of other countries are looking for the same thing El Salvador was looking for, a way to help their people keep more of their money, to help their people become more prosperous, to bring them up to the standards of the 2020s, to bring their lifestyles up to the current lifestyles people in the better countries are living in around the world. They're going to raise their level of their standard of living. And the only way to do that is through cryptocurrencies. You can't do it through any place. You're not going to do it through the IMF. That's what got them in trouble. Borrowing money from the International Monetary Fund. That's what got them in trouble. That's what ruined their currencies. That's what ruined their economies. So now they're looking at, we got this thing called cryptocurrency, and all we need to do is accept it, allow our people to use it, and we can have all the benefits of not having this third party, the IMF, and charging us interest and telling us how to run our country, and then using that against us when we want to do trade with other countries. Well, and that's why I was never a Trump supporter, because Trump liked to use trade embargoes. He liked to go to countries and say, hey, look, I don't like what you're doing, and we're just going to cut off your trade. I don't think that's fair for the people that live in those countries. And I don't think it's a good idea for countries like the United States to be eliminating markets. Look what he did to farming. I mean, you had farmers in the Midwest, because Trump come in and decided to make trade agreements or break trade agreements with China, that didn't get their soybeans sold for 2 years, or their corn, or whatever else it was. They got hurt, and even though they stayed with Trump, and I'm not saying that Trump was a bad president. I mean, I look at some of the things Biden's doing right now, and I kind of wish Trump was back. So, Trump had some good things he did. He had some bad things he did. But I think the idea of, being able to be like the world arbiter, or the world regulator, or the one place in the world that makes all these financial decisions, I don't think that's a good way of running the world either. I think the world should be run by, a more decentralized system. And that's what cryptocurrencies are, decentralized. That's the key word is decentralized, not by one centralized system. It needs to be decentralized. That's why I think the altcoins are important. We can't just rely on Bitcoin. We can't just rely on the fiat currencies. We have to have a decentralized system being the world of everybody having some way of being able to prosper or do something in a positive way, and not just sitting here waiting for another country to give them a handout, or another country to come in and buy off their leaders and give certain people in the country, like we did with some of these countries. You go in and you give a country money. Guess what? The countries are corrupt. The money goes to a few people. The country ends up becoming impoverished, and nobody does, and everything gets, the standard of living goes down. The healthcare goes down. People's lives become very difficult. So unnecessary in today's world, especially where all you need is access to the internet and a cell phone. I get a kick out of this. One time I was watching a video with Jim Rogers. If you know who Jim Rogers is, very wealthy guy, probably one of the wealthiest men in the world. Founder of the Quantum Fund. Most people will have heard of George Soros. George Soros and Jim Rogers started the Quantum Fund. At the time I was a stockbroker, that was one of the biggest funds you could invest in, was the Quantum Fund. Huge returns. Huge returns on that fund. Jim Rogers has this video one time. He's talking about being in China with his granddaughter. He wants to buy some ice cream. And he wants to give the young lady that he's buying the ice cream from some currency. Some Chinese yen or Chinese currency or US dollars or whatever it is that he has on him. She refuses. She says, I cannot accept your currency. She goes, the only way I can accept money is from your digital currency. You have to have some digital currency for me to accept your money. And Rogers didn't know how to do it. One of the richest guys in the world, one of the most famous investors in the world, one of the founders of one of the greatest funds in the world, and he doesn't know how to transact through his cell phone. He has no idea how to give her money through his cell phone. He has no idea of an app. He has no idea how to transact in digital money because he's an older man and he's lost touch. There are billions of people around the world today running around, especially younger people in Africa, people in countries around the world that have access to a cell phone and have access to an internet through a cell phone, have access to a Bitcoin, that have access to any digital currency. That is what's going to flourish, and that's what's going to take off, and that's as it should be, because that's decentralized. The ability for anybody around the world to transact with anybody else in the world without a third party, without a country, with a you understand now why guys like Ronald Reagan, the Bushes, Walker Bush, and George Bush. I mean, you understand why they built a huge military, why they built a lot of people in the military. You understand why in the United States of America, young men want to become Navy SEALs. I live next to the ocean. I've never wanted to be a SEAL. Seals are not animals that are the most beautiful animals in the world. They're ugly. They're fat. They're slimy looking. Who would want to be a Navy SEAL? I wouldn't want to be a Navy SEAL, especially when I see what they have to go through to become Navy SEAls. But it's so glamorized in the United States. They make movies about it. You see YouTube videos about it. People want to do it. They built a large military. They built a very, very strong military, and they've built, a very strong special forces unit that can strike anywhere in the world. And they did it for a reason. They did it for a reason because they wanted to make sure there was some teeth in whatever they did monetarily. So the dollar had some power, some authority. And when you invested in the dollar, you invested in a mighty military and a strong special forces that could go around the world and touch anybody in the world. As a lot of people found out, dictators have found out around the world, they could get you any place you live. They can find you. They can get you. So you don't want to get too far out of line with the United States of America as far as the world's currencies are concerned, the monetary currencies, as far as anything is concerned, because things can happen pretty quickly, especially with special forces like the Navy SEALs. Like I say, it's glamorized in the United States. I know personally a young man that went to the Navy SEALs, a very good friend of my son's. What is a Navy SEAL now? And I know what he went through to do it, and I know how important it was to him, and how dedicated and how extreme. I used to see him running up and down the road. He would be getting ready, and my son wrestled with him in high school, so he was a wrestler. So my son was a good friend of his. He went on to become a Navy SEAL. He had a couple tries, didn't make it, finally ended up getting in. And I remember seeing him. I used to feel so bad for him because he'd have his backpack on and he'd be running up and down the hills and he'd have the backpacks full of weights. You could see he was killing himself, but he did it. He finally made it. But this is the reason why. The reason why is because he wanted to have a position where he could be, his dad was military. He wanted to be military. He wanted to have a position where people respected him, and they do respect him for what he did. He put a lot of work into it. With that respect now comes the fact that, there's an amazing fighting force out there that can, like I say, touch anybody in the world. So you don't get too far from these regulations, like Michael Saylor says. These regulations they got teeth in them. They're strong. You don't buck the system too much. But as time wears on, maybe not so much. But now, yeah, you don't buck the system. That's why I think EOS is the right thing. Even though it does hurt the price, even though they are falling under regulation, they did the right thing. But in the future, hopefully things become a little more decentralized, less power structure within one country. More countries have more control. I think that's a good thing. I think it's a healthy thing. Even though I do live in the United States, I've always been in the United States. My family's from the United States. I'm generational United States. My parents weren't immigrants, or my family pretty much always been in the United States. So, even though this is my country and I love it, I do understand that there's other things to think about, that the cryptocurrencies need to be, the government needs to be more decent. And it doesn't need to take control of so much and have so much authority around the world. I don't think that's a healthy thing. I think and then it's not healthy for us. You can see what it's done to the U.S. economy. When you pretty much inflate your own currency, you control other people's economies and currencies, then you become a little bit, you do it, deindustrialize your own country, which is exactly what's happening in the United States. We're becoming reliant on imports because of a strong dollar. So because of a strong dollar, we brought stuff in from other countries, which means our country's been pretty much in neutral. We don't build as much as we used to build here. We don't create as much as we used to create here because our country's been in neutral because we've been able to live off of this world reserve currency, US dollar. So even though we built a mighty military, have a special forces unit that's second to none, it hasn't always been the best for us either. So this isn't something I did. This is why I'm into cryptocurrencies. At my age, I'm in my 60s. I'm into cryptocurrencies. Jim Rogers isn't because he doesn't understand it. Warren Buffett isn't because he doesn't understand it. I understand it because I was a stockbroker. I understand it because for the last 20 years, I've been a developer on, developing projects, mainly e-commerce sites, websites, stuff like that. Got into the whole idea of cryptocurrencies through that, and my son doing it. So this has been something I've been very passionate about. It's just not a thing that, and then also I understood the idea that a fiat currency isn't forever, that there has to be something take its place. The U.S. government understands that too. That's why they're allowing Bitcoin to exist. That's why things exist the way they are. So anyway, I'm making up for last night. I didn't get the video done. Hopefully tonight I made the point, drove the point home. Altcoins aren't bad. Altcoins aren't going away. There are going to be a few bumps in the road, but these people like Michael Saylor and Max Kaiser are wrong. The altcoin market is going to be very much in play and very much a part of this decentralized world that we're going to be living in. Because you're going to have smart contracts for the decentralized world to do everything that it needs to do, the DeFi, the definance, the DeFi that we're all excited about that's not happening because of scalability problems. But that's all going to happen here very soon. And when it does, it's going to prosper everybody. Everybody's standard of living is going to be increased because of it. So that's where we're going. That's hopefully why I make these videos and hopefully why people get interested in this stuff. We're early in this day, early in this time. But these days will become more apparent as things start to unfold. And we'll see. We'll see what Michael Gensler does. Michael Gensler, Garrigan, whatever his name's. I'm not sure what his first name is. We'll see what he does as far as the regulation is concerned. But I do think it's an issue. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.